Hello, welcome to Clip Studio Paint / Manga Studio 5 Basics, knowing the interface. So currently I have Clip Studio Paint EX or Manga Studio Pro, I guess, the highest version of Manga Studio for Manga Studio 5. And this is how the interface looks like when you install it. And I'll show you how the interface works. So let's get right to it. So there's so many of these little windows, and they're called subtools or property tool windows. They have all these little things that they can do. So I'm introduce to you these little things one by one, but this is how the interface looks right now. So over to your right, we can make this bigger so you can see it. Okay. The Navigator Tool helps you look where you are in the canvas. So you can zoom in, and you can even turn it around. And if you want to go back to the normal canvas to where you started, you just press this clear button or reset rotate. You can also zoom in, you can zoom out. You go to fit by pixel size, fit to navigator size, fit to screen size, which, I mean, you have to make this smaller for it to fit the screen. And then there's the rotate, and then there's the flip. Okay, so this is the Navigator tool. Now, subview. This one is intentionally like when you want to look at references and you want to have it close to where you're drawing, like this one, right? What you want to do is you have to have your image on your files, open it, like use this, and you have an image as a reference. And, you know, you can draw alongside it so it has a reference. Okay, and if you're done using it, just press the trash can button. But aside from that, you can zoom in, you can make it fit, you can pick colors. That's technically what it is. I'm not too familiar with the item bank sub-window and the information window, so I'll skip through that. And then we can move on to, let's put this here. It's much easier if all the layer stuff is in one tool thing. There you go. So this is the layer tool. You can put layers, make new layers, and you have the choice. You can have a raster layer or a vector layer. So you know, raster is basically like no mathematical stuff in there, right? If it's a raster, it's kind of like mathematical-ish, I think. I'm not saying I'm a pro at Manga Studio, but you know, I'm showing you the basic stuff. You can make a new folder. Let's see. You can move it down, you can move it up, you can make a mask on these different layers. So just make sure you just select the layers and you put the mask on them, you know. And if you want to delete just the mask, click the mask, press delete. You can apply it, you cannot apply it. Or if you just want to delete the layer, press this one. Okay? Alright. On to history. History is basically self-explanatory. It remembers how many strokes you've done, actions you've done since you opened the file or when you worked on the file. So this one, it depends on how much memory your computer can have to remember how much strokes you've done, or you know how farther back you can go. So it depends, and you can set it over there. And then this is an action button. You can make your own actions, or you can use the default set from Manga Studio, which is this one. And in order to make this work, I think you just let's see, draw something and press the button. Oh, button mode. Right click, set it to button mode, and then click it. Then it becomes bevel and emboss. Next subtool, layer properties. Layer properties does a lot of things. You can make border effect on things, which we've drawn this one already. Let's put a border effect of color, I don't know, red? Add custom color. And it's gonna put borders. And it depends on how thick you want it. Thick, not so thick, thick, not so thick. And expression colors, basically it's kind of like if you wanted just black and white, or just gray, or just color. And you can do other things like extract line. I haven't experimented with that. Add a tone, or you can change the layer color. Basically everything's a certain color. Yeah. Search layer, I'm not familiar with this. And then there's this animation cells. I've not experimented enough to know about animation cells. So let's, experiment. I mean, I'm only showing the basics. Over here is the materials library. You have so many materials in your hand when you start out with Manga Studio or Clip Studio Paint. So you have lots of things you can work with. You have patterns which are colored. And you can just drag it. You can apply. And then you have effects and feelings. Sakura blossoms, so pretty. You can have backgrounds, pretty. You can have texture, and you can have monochromatic patterns, screen tones. I think they have to be bigger. There you go. Yeah. Gradient, cross-hatching patterns. Nature, building, lots of stuff you can use. Alright, so technically you can find them here if you want to know what tags they have, or you can search for something, it's here. And then you can change your window mode if you want to change how it looks like. You can have check marks on them too, so you can tell which one you used. So yeah, they're all the same. Oh yeah, and preset panels. You can work on preset panels. Bursts, flats, organic. Your 3D references are here too that you can play with. Yeah, not too good with that, but you play around with it, you'll figure it out. Okay. On your left, well, all these little subtools. This is like the subtool operation. Usually like the little subtools for your little tools over here. There's so many tools you can work with. The hand tool, the rotate tool, the zoom in, zoom out tool, the move tool, selection tool. You have so many different selections you can choose from. Magic wand tool, and so many versions of that too. You can edit it here too. Color layer tool, pickup tool, pen, pencil, and there's other subtools underneath it too. So yeah, I do recommend experimenting with it, get used to it. Over here is your, that's what they're calling command bar setting, command bar. So you can set up your own command bar here anytime you want. Just go to command bar settings. See, they're both the same. And pick which tools you want to put in. I usually like the hue saturation, luminosity, curves, levels, and color balance, as well as crop, change canvas size, transformation, clear, and the rulers. They're very easy for me to use. It's just a click of a button, So that's how you use these guys. Aside from that, you can actually command bar. You actually put them underneath these little guys. So you can choose this, insert into group. So they're going to be in these little groups, and you can put dividers or no dividers. So yeah. And you can go to preferences. So with preferences, everybody, or at least most of the people I've seen using Manga Studio, always wants to know how come your Manga Studio is dark. You have to update your Manga Studio to the current version to have the dark color option, which is this one. It can even be light. And you can change the intensity or density, or you can go dark. And you can change the density. Okay? So you have all these little options here for specified color usage for when you work on canvas. I usually go with sRGB, and then files, canvas, colors for your rulers if you have specified preferred colors for your rulers, layer frames, cursors, performance. So technically this is how much memory you want Manga Studio, Clip Studio Paint to eat on your main RAM memory while you're working on it. I usually set it to at least 60% or less. And if you want it to work on a certain hard drive, you can choose which hard drive it to work on. And here's your undo count. It says here 40. So you can undo 40 times. And then tablet. So I am using the tablet right now. So yeah. Another thing for the interface that you should know is how to use your shortcut settings. So I already set up all my shortcuts here. It depends on what you want to use. Like for the main menu, like Control Alt F for file, Control S for save, Control Z for undo. These useful stuff. You can edit them. You can reset them back to default, and then you can also choose tools that you also made for yourself, like my own brush set. I've also made actions under button, right? So you can set them with whatever commands that you want. You can even have more than the same command. Like for brush, I make them all the default brush tools for Manga Studio. We'll scroll through B, 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 B for that one. So you can have multiple B's or letter B to scroll through different palettes. Like here. And then, yeah, that's technically it. But, you can move also these guys if you want them somewhere else. I usually want to move them here or around. You can move them around, or you can move them to a different tool. So, yeah, you can customize your workspace however you want. Aside from that, you can also save the workspace however you want. I have a preferred workspace. So, which is this one. This is my preferred workspace. So yeah, this is knowing the interface basics. I hope you enjoyed my run through.